Hello and welcome. Running a little bit late today, so let's do a quick run through on what we're looking at on the DAX. So we've got the pivot points laid out here. If we get a nice spike down to the breakout short, could go for a really nice long off that level, potentially even buying around this level because we've got the close gap up here above the pivot, so above where we are now, and we'll be using the order flow as usual to try and determine when the time is to actually press the button. So any rejections off these levels down below for a long is probably my ideal situation. It's the first of the month, 1st of October, so we're looking for, I guess, buyers to come in and lift the market back up. Obviously, the opposite is always possible, so just be wary. This isn't financial advice, this is just my experience. About a minute and a half till the open. I'll quickly run through, so we're outside the lower Bollinger Band on the 5 minute. Quickly look at the monthly, turning up on the weekly, turning down on the daily, possibly turning up as well, excluding today of course, and then turning down on the 4 hour, had a massive move south. So if we come down and say hit this S1, could be looking for some really strong buys. On the 1 hour, look, the lower Bollinger Band isn't really in play on the 1 hour. It might be in play on the 30 minute, particularly if we get down here. On the 15 minute, we're already outside the lower band, and the 5 minute, we're already outside the lower band as well. So this all indicates, I'll just check my microphone is on, yeah. So this all indicates that hopefully we're going to get a nice solid buy around the open. Hopefully we'll get a little push down first to give us a better risk reward ratio before we get in. 15 seconds till the open, and basically fingers on the trigger for a buy order. So we'll see what the market brings us. Nice solid push down, that's okay. Rejection, I would say, off that level there. Hopefully we go long from here, but I could be wrong. Even if we get down to say the S1, I'm in now for 2 positions at 2 lots each. Probably got in a bit soon. I guess a little bit hopeful without looking at the order flow, but I just really do have a feeling that we're going to close this gap to the upside. It's quite rare at the moment for us to be below the close gap, or this distance away with, I guess, a bounce into the breakout short level. So I'm in long. So I've got one trade about $50 loss, another trade's about $10 profit, and I'm just going to hope that the market does respect this level. I'll put my stops in just in case, so that I don't get wiped out from a very quick move if it does occur. So I've got 160 stop loss and call that 95 within my limits on the 10k account, so that's fine. And thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate your likes. It just lets me know that it is helpful, or providing some sort of value to you guys. And looking at this layout, it looks like there's more buyers in control of this market. 41 contracts there against 46 and 45, that's okay. So it just seems to me like the buyers should maintain control. We may even get down to this S1, but my ideal situation is we go all the way up to this close gap, perhaps even beyond. So 1st of the month, good morning Trek Lord, thanks so much for coming back. How's your trading been going? I think I've got enough volume, so I've got free margin of about $2,500, 7.5. So I might just change the order, I guess, section to 1 vol or 1 lot, and I'll get in for 1 more contract long if the market does come down to, say, the S1. If it breaks the S1, I'm probably going to just get stopped out. That's just the nature of today's trade. I am hoping that the buyers will take control at some point, but again, always, as always, I could be wrong. I'll just zoom in a little bit. I don't think, yeah, that might be the full reaction. At the moment, where are we? I've got my targets kind of up around this level here, so the 23916 on the CFD chart. So that's $238 plus, what do we got here? 311, so 208, about $500 all up on the table if it goes all the way up to this price up here. Took a bit of heat there, but my stops weren't reached, so I've got about $250 of risk on the table, so about a quarter of the total risk that is allowed, and we'll just have to see if the market does respect this level. We might even come back down, try and actually touch the S1 before we start heading long, but unless we break this S1, I'm still positive. Yesterday was quite, what happened yesterday? Let's have a quick look at the recap. I think it was a very just non-event sort of a day. So yeah, opened kind of too close to the close gap yesterday. I didn't really want to get in on that. I was expecting some selling due to the end of quarter, so hedge funds and institutional traders looking to close their books for the quarter, collect their commissions, that kind of thing, and sell the market away. So basically the market kind of pulled down a little bit and then sort of drifted up. Didn't really, I guess you could have really had an excellent buy after the sell-off for the first sort of hour or so. So till 11 o'clock thereabouts. So an hour of just people closing their positions, I would say. And then the flip side, so most traders could have been probably short for the quarter, indicating that perhaps the market would be closing off sells and thus buying back into the market and pushing it higher. So I wanted to buy around the S1, but we didn't quite get down there. Massive move to the upside, but no trades for me yesterday. So 200 odd points to the upside. I think the day before we had a really good trade. So yeah, off the R2, we basically rejected twice. So that was in pre-market. This came back up, tapped it at the market open. I got short, got it out around this level here for about 72 points, I think it was. But basically the market went all the way to target at 110 odd points and beyond. So there's 170 odd points there on the table, all the way down to that pivot. So the last couple of days, yesterday wasn't great because I just kind of did a 4-minute session. Just said, look, it's going a bit slow. I'm not really that interested, particularly after the day before's trade. It was just textbook sort of a setup. So yesterday kind of left it. The FTMO account at the moment is sitting at pretty much break even. So it's 10,005 USD. So took a bit of a hit last week. I was about $500 down after some trading after the live sessions. Took a bit of a hit, recovered a couple of days ago, and yeah, we're still here today. So we'll see what this market brings. If we get a nice delivery here where we go all the way to the close gap, I'd be very happy. It's a nice wick there. And basically just looking for that market to really push up, back up to its close gap there. On the flip side, it's looking quite bearish. You know, the market's just dipping down. It's been dropping all day. Have a look at the ASX. Kind of stayed within a range. Didn't really get too much action, but on the Nikkei, we're down here on the S3. Quite a good rejection off that S3, so 200 odd points. Off the S3, that purple bottom line. Had anybody have been watching that, we're still there right now as well, so we've come back down for a retest of that level. But as you probably all know, that a retest isn't always as good as the first kind of interaction in the market. So I'm just going to zoom in now, have a bit of a look at the order flow. It seems quite even. I'll just go back over to the DAX, have a look at the UK. Really good buying on the FTSE. that's kind of the motion that I was expecting. So 30 odd points on the FTSE or the UK 100. This is the kind of reaction I was expecting on the DAX. We haven't seen it yet. Got the US, we're sitting at the previous day's low right now. There's the yearly R1 just below that point as well. So hopefully this candle will turn up and we'll be back inside the Bollinger Band or the standard deviation of pricing, and then we can start making our way up to that close. But look at that, the FTSE just powered up into that R1 level. Let's see if the DAX can follow along, but basically it's falling away at this point in time. So slow and steady. We've got a big order up here, so 36 and 26. It looks to me like, hopefully that's buyers getting into the market, perhaps a limit buy to push it higher and then some aggressive buying, but it may not be the case. The 36 could be aggressive sellers as well. So we'll just have to wait and see at this point. Now my positions at the moment, I've got 2 contracts for 2 lots on a 10K FTMO. One's at $40 loss and the other one's at $20 profit, thereabouts. Stops are set to about $250 loss total, but the targets are set to about $550 odd. So if we get to target, which I've set to this kind of pricing region here, 23,911, so it's a bit over the close gap, then I'll be very happy. If we kind of hit this region down here, 23,717, then yeah, I'll take a loss and yeah, see what happens next. Not quite getting the reaction and response that I'd like at the open in order to fill a gap. It's kind of meandering around a little, and that's not really what I want to see after a nice rejection into that breakout short. So we're really going to need some sort of heavy artillery to come in. Now we've got 12 contracts down here. It looks like it could be aggressive selling. Got 10 contracts there. We really need some ask side aggressive buying to come in to actually move this market in the direction we want to see. This is working right now, but it's a new candle. It's only 30 seconds old, so often that can be a bit fake. I'm just going to turn the mic off for a little bit, guys, and just bear with me. Getting a bit of build up around this level now, so hopefully some aggressive buying there. So this is an ask order and it's to the low of pricing, indicating that it's more likely to be aggressive buying rather than a passive seller. So what I mean by a passive seller is like a sell limit order. This looks like it could be either way. So on the bid side, it could be passive buyers at this level saying, right, I've got a pending order here to go long, or it could be aggressive sellers just hitting this price and saying, right, if we get here, I want to go short right now. So again, that's Trader Dale's book, kind of teaches you the ins and outs of reading this order flow. What I find it most useful for is when you have a really big sort of interaction like we saw here, but then let's say instead of this 20, there's like a 50 all of a sudden, and that would indicate to me that perhaps the market is changing. If it was on the bid side, then the market could be just continuing on from there, but it just kind of depends on the landscape, on the other levels that you're looking at, and you know, just trying to determine what the thought pattern of that big order is. This looks like aggressive selling. I think the sellers might have a bit more control than the buyers at the moment. Just really need it to turn around this S1. I've still got one contract that I can add to this position. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's, you know, that's part of trading. But I'd really like to see this market reject off the S1 or where it is right now and have a really positive day. But we'll just have to wait and see. We're at the 24,000 mark, just about, big round number. I think we had a recent trade that was really quite powerful off the 24,000 pricing mark. So we've got a new, oh no, it's not a new candle, so we've got some buying coming in now. Hopefully that's a bit more, more of a proper run up. But it's a little bit thin here now, so it's really got to break through this 45 and 26 price point to gain any traction. This part of trading is often very much about just waiting it out. We've kind of got our entry. If we pull back a little further, I might add to this position. If we go right down to this area down here where my mouse is, then I'll be stopped out. I don't want to take too much heat because there's every chance that this could just slide away for the rest of the day. But in saying that, I am hopeful that based on the analysis, we will hopefully come up and fill this gap. We've got enough support here. We closed the previous day, or 2 days ago, I should say, at this price where the S1 is. So hopefully the market kind of doesn't want to go too much further below that level. Getting some more buying coming in, but we've got 24 contracts on the bid side there. It's on the position of price comparative to where we've been trading. So there's some big sellers in the market, I believe, at this point. Really just got to wait and see what this market does. I don't know, anyone in the chat, if you know of any news coming out for the day. I actually don't really check the news very often. I know it's not the right thing to do, but I find it just clouds my responses, and oftentimes I've looked at the news, thought a particular theme of thinking, but the pivot points actually had more respect than some of the news announcements. So we've closed higher there on that 5 minute, and hopefully this 15 minute candle can help us power up from here. So on the 15 minute, really spiked out quite hard. We just need to break this upper limit here. We'll be looking a bit better. But there's just not that many buyers in this current market, just at present anyway. So it's really just about waiting for them to say, right, this is it, we're going long, or vice versa. Obviously you want to watch out for the flip side so you can get out of any positions that you shouldn't be in. So really just a waiting game. Currently at $50 profit thereabouts, so my first order that I got in too soon with is about break even. The other order is about $50 or $60 in profit right now. Really need to break this kind of high that we've seen over the last 15 odd minutes. Well, that was 10 minutes ago, I think. So just waiting out the market, watching the order flow, but it's not really indicating anything of value to me at this point in time. I do have concern that this might be an ask limit sell followed by aggressive selling, but I wasn't quite watching that. So if it came up 12 all hit at once, followed by a big hit of 7 and 16 to push the market down, we might be having a bit of a reaction to the downside because of that order flow. So it's pulling back a little bit, not quite respecting the level, and really just waiting it out. On the 30 minute, so that Bollinger Band looks very clean, so it just spikes right into it, and now we're having that reaction. We've got another 13 minutes of this candle to hopefully come back up and recover. Perhaps up past the pivot would be the ideal situation. Nice. And do you trade the news, Treklord, or do you sort of avoid it more than anything? I tend to not even worry about it because it becomes very volatile. The spreads widen too much, and it's not very clinical for the way that I do things, at least. So So on the 30-minute chart, this looks like more buying coming in on the FDAX Mini, which is quite positive. Thin volume here. So what happens just above this price point, I think will kind of have an impact as to what happens after this price point. If we see a big ask order all at once at this high, that could be a seller coming in saying, right, this is where I want to get in short again. If we see, I guess, ask side orders that are kind of looks like they're attacking, that could be positive. And then we're seeing perhaps what looks like aggressive selling for 4 and then 8 contracts here. So we need some aggressive buyers to really break this level. Yeah, exactly. I just, sometimes it's fun to trade the news, but from a professional standpoint, it's just, too much risk. Doesn't really help the end result. Of course, it can be a bit of fun, but all right. So sitting at about $90 odd. I'm just going to bring my stops to break even at this point. Look, if we come back down on this first order, that's not the worst thing in the world. I can get back in a little bit heavier down low, which I think it's going to tap. We'll see if we can push up from here, but I've got my stops at break even now. So risk-free, either way, whatever happens, I'll be slightly up for the day, or I'll be halfway to target. So just about being patient now. So not too much to commentate on if you guys are watching the market. There's no new trade from me now because I'm in. The open kind of took me in with the volatility to down below the breakout short, which was an excellent opportunity to get in. And now I'm really just waiting for the market to pull its weight, move in the direction that I want it to. And as it does so, hopefully earn me some extra coin or get a bit closer to the FTMO pass value. So really just waiting it out, guys. And thanks so much for coming and watching. Do remember to like the video if you're getting something out of it. When the markets aren't volatile at the market open, it's a bit frustrating. And often I'll just sort of think, I'll just come back tomorrow. There's plenty of opportunities throughout pretty much every single month. There's a really good trading opportunity to get involved in. So that slow movement at the market open where it doesn't actually bounce into anything, I generally just sit it out. So volatility is good, but when there's too much of it, it's not quite what I'm after. Particularly when the spreads are massive. So it's more the widening of spreads. I had an account with a prop firm and they put 100 pips of spread on the DAX at a news time. I was in a profitable trade, I think, and then basically because of their liquidity provider, they just went a bit too heavy on the spread and wiped the account out, even though it really shouldn't have. So just for that reason, it's really quite frustrating and try and avoid the news in particular. But market open is usually pretty good. I'm tempted now to, no, I shouldn't. But what I'd like to do is perhaps I've been stopped out of the position that was kind of way up here. I think it was about here. Stopped out at, I guess, break even. I'm tempted now to have an order ready to get back in again. So we're seeing some buying coming in, or it looks like buying. I guess ultimately I should really wait for it to get all the way down to this S1 before I get in again. So I'm going to try and be patient, stick to the rules and the analysis, because that always ends up a lot better. 100 pips. I went to complain, but ultimately that's why you go with the bigger guys. So FTMO, Apex Trader Funding, a lot of these smaller prop firms, they don't quite have the infrastructure, and you're basically just setting yourself up for failure when they do things like that. And it's because they don't have I guess, the infrastructure. They don't have the speed to be able to capture all of the different positions, and they widen the spreads just way too much. Now, what do we got? Kind of coming down, tapping this structure here. I'd love to see some decent volume come in, but it's just very quite, it's indifferent. So I'm not seeing massive value, and I guess like I said a couple of days ago, it's often best to just wait it out. When you see the market set up properly, that's when it's time to go in. Right now, I'm kind of like, it looks okay, but it's not really doing what I'm expecting. I probably shouldn't get in further. I've got a trade at break even, stops to break even. I'm about $50 up. Another trade that I had is about $2.85 in profit, but it's closed. So it's basically at break even. And ultimately, if this goes up, $300, I'll be 30% to target. And I don't really want to take heat on this particular setup because it's not quite moving as aggressively as I would like. So for example, the UK 100, look at that. Massive spike at the open, hit the R1, kind of had a bit of a retracement, but now it's just powering up beyond that. I'd expect the DAX to do something similar, but it's kind of reacting a little bit slower than I'd anticipated. Market's coming down a little bit now. I'll just watch it for a little bit longer just to see if I can get back in with a bit more volume. So 2 or 3 contracts. And then hopefully get stops to break even fairly quickly. Just not quite seeing the reaction that I'd ultimately like to see. Often on a new candle we get a bit of a sort of a buy spike, but then it kind of fades away. So often when it's a new candle, second half of September, that's a shame, Trecklord. With the Apex accounts, I wasn't able to sort of hold it as steady for as long as it needed to go, so I'm in the same boat basically. The FTMO's hanging in there, but hopefully October's a better month for trading. Looks like it's forming a bit of a base here, but if we do drop down, I think we're probably going to have quite a swift move under this pricing structure right here. Looks like selling. If we get a bit more of a downward motion, that would be great. It's very close to my stops to break even stop. So potentially it might be a bit of a break even day. That's okay. It's just about being patient, waiting for those proper setups to take you in and really rally when you're in a buy position. Don't think today's that day. I could have taken profit at around $100 overall, which is 10% to target. But I just had a bit more faith in the market to go all the way to that close gap. Often I get out of trades early and the market ends up respecting the analysis. So really trying to stick to what I say here in these sessions. So these sessions actually help me understand my own trading, because I say something in the pre-market, I tell you guys exactly what I think the market will do, and then when it happens and I don't trade it, it's just very, very much highlighted to me that I should be trading what I'm talking about. Sometimes I get in too early or about to get stopped out here. There we go. I'm hoping the market will push down a little further now that I'm out, and I'll get in at a better price, I'm hoping. Got 13 contracts here. That could be limit buying, sort of getting closer down to this lower level, but hopefully we'll have a nice strong push down to these levels and get a better risk reward. I want to get back into this position if I can. So it's 5:30 here at the moment. A bit of selling here, I would say, unless that's buy orders. Love to see this push down a little further. Just waiting for that entry. We'll see if we get it. Now, a little bit further. I think this might be it. I'm going to look. There's not really that. Yeah, look, I'm getting in. We might go down a little bit further, but we'll just have to see. Look, I'm in again. There's 12 contracts there, 16. All right, I think I didn't time it perfectly, but it wasn't too bad. And if I put my targets back up to where they were, I've got 267 and 295. Put my stops in, $80. Oh, maybe 150 and 120. So if the market does come down sort of down to this region, I'll be stopped out. I think I can take that. But if it does go up towards my target, 286 and 300, so looking at close to 600 or 60% to target if these trades, if we can get some buyers coming in, which it looks like the buyers are starting to take a bit of a power move here. Just really need them to dominate to get up past this pricing structure up here above the pivot. It is the first day of the month, so hopefully we'll get some buying coming in. Ah, nice work. Was that off the pivot point? Oh yeah, and then the time, 5:30, it's up here, so that's local time. 12 contracts. Anyway, guys, I'm probably going to try and bring these stops to break even if we get a bit of a move. Otherwise, I'm just going to wait it out and hope the market powers up. That's it from me today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys coming in, liking these live sessions, and being interactive in the chat. It means a lot, and it's why I keep coming back and sharing what I think and what I see. And nice work. Nice work, Trek Lord. Very well done. So, that's it from me, guys. Hope you have a great trading session, and I'll be back on tomorrow. See you later.